Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to go over really quick about rendering and drawing. I want to go over something about drawing with pen, and I think it's going to be really beneficial to you to kind of learn it, and I'm going to teach it. So while I'm doing it, so let's kind of wait a little bit till the room populates a little bit. I want to talk to you about a couple of things that have kind of happened and some really fun stuff I'm working on. But so when you're drawing something like a form of any kind, right? I am thinking of like the 3D aspect of that form. That's always going to be really important to me. And I think that's always going to be something that's relevant. So if I'm thinking of like this, right? If I'm thinking of this dude, this Parasaurolophus, this dinosaur, if I'm thinking of this in general, what I'm actually doing is I'm drawing these little bitty, let me zoom in. I'm drawing these little bitty lines, right? These little tiny lines. And I'm laying down these tiny little lines in the direction that I think the form is. So he's going to have a little poofy cheek, a little bit going on over here. And I'm thinking of the 3D aspect of this animal's face, right? So when I do that, all I'm doing right now with ballpoint pen is laying down these directional little things. And they start to kind of merge and they slowly start to form a larger kind of mass over time. Like over time, they're going to show, like right now, if you look at the line on its own, it's not going to show that much, right? You can probably barely see it on camera. But if you do this, you layer it one over the next, over the next, over the next, it's gonna really start, making a value, right? It's gonna start creating this kind of value in this, on this dude, on this dinosaur. It's gonna be kind of like shades of what you need and what you really want. So I'm gonna teach you also a rendering technique that I kind of never go over, just to kind of help you out. And yeah. So we got the dark set in, right? I always think about the initial drawing, which is usually like shapes, simple shapes. Then I'm thinking of the outside of simple shapes, I'm thinking of something like, okay, I need to know where the general sunlight's coming from. It's almost always coming from above. General light source is almost always coming from above. And then I'm thinking, okay, where do I place my darks? It's almost always from above. And then I'm thinking, okay, where do I place my darks? It's almost always underneath here. See the really dark shapes is underneath the neck, in the mouth area, and then over here along the eyes. I'm always taking into account, I'm always taking into account stuff that I, want to focus on and want the audience, the viewer to look at. And after that, I'm thinking of small, little detail stuff. So the stuff I'm doing right now would be very simplistic stuff, right? There's nothing really wild about anything I'm doing. These little lines right here, I can literally just kind of go like this and just kind of, keep curving it, right? See, like I'm curving those little lines. And it seems like it's taking slow. It seems like it's taking a while, but in reality, it's not that slow. It actually starts to form pretty quickly. I'm just trying to go like this. I'm not putting that much pressure on it. And I'm trying to like go over here, give it a little bit of, I don't know, peppering, a little bit of spice, a little bit of, you're throwing this on gradually, and then you're stepping back and looking at it. And the cool part is the more you do this, the more you're going to kind of get a feeling and a vibe for kind of design and how to design these characters. And you're also designing, the shadows in this for the most part. And it can be really fun. It can be incredibly fun. It can be incredibly, rewarding to kind of see this stuff form. It's like unbelievably rewarding, right? But it does take a little bit of time. And by the way, it doesn't, let me rephrase that. It doesn't take so much time as it does patience, right? Like that's really the thing. It really takes patience, not time. So like right now, I want to just like scribble it around, like really fast. I want to do that. But I mean, it's going to screw things up, right? And you'll end up taking longer fixing up the mistakes. And sometimes there'll be mistakes that you'll really won't even be able to fix. So you kind of want to like sit back, be patient, which is probably one of the most important things you got to do in this whole thing. And I'll be honest, being impatient is what held me back so long from certain things in drawing. Was just kind of rushing in and just trying to finish stuff. Because sometimes when you get like to a certain point, maybe like 30% into a sketch, you just want to rush through it because you want to have that thing on your record, I guess, or something like that. You just want to have like, okay, boom, I did it. Boom, I practiced it. Boom, that happened. But in reality, you push it forward and you just break the drawing. You put down a line that's way too thick. You put down a series of lines that are way too thick. And to be honest, it starts to screw up, the progress that you had beforehand, right? I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. Like if you've been working on something for a long time and then you do something and then boom, you break it. You're like, dang, now it looks crummy. Like I said, let me teach you and by the way, when I say rendering, the word rendering really means just like shading. It's just like another word for shading, kind of fixing stuff up. Yeah, that's when I say rendering. So let me teach you a rendering technique that you can kind of see over here actually. So something that I do in my sketchbook. So this is super kind of advanced. So just be aware of that. So I would just use this with caution. What I'm about to tell you, because if you do it in the beginning, it's gonna look really crummy. So when I'm putting down little lines like this, see, I'm putting these little lines in the direction of the form that I'm creating or seeing right here. When I put down these little lines like that, there's a moment that it comes off of your pen, right? See how little tiny that is? There's a moment where it comes off the pen and it's still kind of moist, right? It's kind of moist, so it's not totally dry. But there's a moment where you can kind of go with your finger or your thumb or your finger and just kind of do that with it a little bit. And you almost won't even notice the change, right? But you do it again over here. So let's just say I do it over here. It's not going down. There we go. A little bit more. Then I go with my finger again. Boom. I don't even notice. And you don't want to do it too hard, right? But you do it a little bit. And what that's going to do is going to have the oil from your finger. We all have natural oil we produce in our hand. It's going to come off a little bit. And it's going to give a little bit of a smeared look. And it has this kind of effect. See, I did it right here. You can see it the most. But it gives a little bit of a smeared look. And it's basically giving you a very smooth kind of gradation along with like these lines. And that mixture of the lines and the smoothness of it can make it look really good. Well, I think it looks really good, but it's obviously up to your opinion. This is very like a style thing, right? So it's up to you. So I would say basically, in short, put some lines down with your ballpoint pen. You can only do the ballpoint pen, by the way. Definitely don't do this with a fountain pen or the other ones. Put it down, run your finger through it a little bit, step back. Okay, cool. If you do it too much, it's going to get too gross looking. It's going to look weird. Also, you want these little lines mixed in because if it's only going to be a bunch of smears, which is a totally other style as well. But in my opinion, when you put down just little smears of stuff too much and you don't see the little tiny directional lines, when you don't see the directional lines, it becomes smooth and it starts to look like, how do you say this? It just looks too stiff and robotic when you do something like that. So what I need you to do is to, if you do try this out, you definitely want to make sure the lines stay showing like that. And it's going to be pretty much impossible to kind of rub every line out. So anyways, that's a really, really really, really advanced thing you can do. You kind of learn the rules to kind of mess around with them, but I would never tell a total beginner to do that. If you're a beginner, you can totally try it. I encourage you to try new things, but be aware that I wouldn't try it on a drawing that you are really into. I would try it out on just a sketch in your sketchbook. You're like, okay, cool. Let me put a finger through that a little bit. Okay, cool. While the ink is still wet. Cool. Over here as well, I can kind of do the same thing. I can draw a little bit of lines right there. So, yeah, I want it to be a little bit more free-flowing with, I'm drawing these little baby lines here. I know my shadow of my hand's screwing up there, but you'll see it after right here. You can kind of see it. So, something I really want to talk about is kind of the future of this live and how I'm going to run it and how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start going live on Instagram I have an Instagram channel. I think it's Sketch Monster Daily or something like that. I'll try to put it in the description of some of the videos, but or you know, I want to start going live there all the time, like constantly. So we'll see. I'm really liking live. I was usually really bad at liking live stuff, but I started really getting into it, and I'm like, man, this is great. I don't know why I wasn't doing this for like years. This live stuff is like incredibly rewarding and incredibly fun to do, right? So yeah, I would say I'm gonna go live a lot on YouTube now. I'll still go live here for sure, as long as you know, this is up, right? TikTok is around. I'll definitely be live, but I was gonna say I'm gonna go a lot or live on YouTube soon. All right, that's pretty much all I had to say. I was going over a little bit of shading and rendering, and I just wanted to kind of talk about that and let you know about it. But if you have any questions ever, put them in any comment section of any video, and I'll go over it, okay? I'll either answer you right there, or I will pick it and I will make it the subject of a live or a video, okay? But I want you to reach out. I'm easy to reach. I'm on here more than ever, and I want to draw like funner stuff for myself. I want to start doing goofy, like I was doing bad Sonic drawings for a while that I thought were like funny. I want to start going back to stuff like that. That stuff was like hilarious. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna go off now, so we'll talk later, okay? Whoopsie daisy. See you later. I don't know how to turn this off. Yeah.